Okay, today I want to talk about the mechanics of spiritual sight, how it works, and how maybe some of the things that you are doing are actually stopping you from accessing your spiritual sight. And also, if you engage in debate, that you could be actively working against your own spiritual growth. So, here, in a previous video, I had an explanation about how we have 5 different bodies, and each of those bodies are related to the elements. The physical body that you have is related to the earth element, and it contains all of the other 4 elements in it: fire, water, air, ether, or spirit. And so these energetic bodies that are connected to the physical body are called the subtle bodies. Now, these subtle bodies have the ability to perceive wavelengths of energy that the physical body can't, because the physical body is dense and it is grounded here in the physical reality. So you only have the 5 senses: sight, smell, sound, touch, hearing. And so when you go within, so that means you take your mind and you go within, and this is usually at the heart chakra where this is accessed, or the solar chakra just below. Those 2 centers allow you to access the subtle bodies. Now, when a mystical practitioner spends time going within, they meditate, they do ritual, they do trance work, they sing rune galder, they do mantras and chanting, that allows their mind to focus on the portals and the gateways that allow them to see the subtle bodies. Now, the first layer of subtle body is fire. In Vedic lore, it's called the prana body, but this is your fire body. Now, what does fire do? It illuminates. It allows you to perceive more. In order for you to have spiritual sight, you must enliven and connect with your fire body. Now, the way into the fire body is within. And not only that, you have to have a spirit of connection. If you do not desire to learn from and connect with your body, then you will not be able to access this prana body at all. If you are trying to connect with people outside of you, you will not be able to connect with this fire body. That's why a lot of spiritual growth requires you to spend tremendous amount of time alone to connect within. And you need to have an empathy with the body first. Now, when you engage in activities that pull you out of the body and into things like abstract thinking or debating or trying to convince others of what you have and see, you are removing your connection to that body. If you spend enough time debating and trying to convince other people about your worldview, you will actually lose your connection. And this is what happened to me. I had a very, very, very strong spiritual practice for about 15 years before I entered the heathen community. And then when I entered the heathen community, it's standard to debate on your what's called unverified personal gnosis, which is literally just spiritual sight. But because the whole misogyny of heathenry required me to debate, I literally spent most of my time debating and defending my own visions and my own practice. And what happened is I lost my spiritual sight. I couldn't see spirits. I couldn't hear the gods. And it went dark for about a year and a half. And this is a really good lesson for me, because now that it's coming back, I am recognizing the issues and the downfalls which caused my sight to go away in the first place. So, what if you are a person and you have never experienced spiritual sight? You have a fire body, but you've never connected to it. What do? And how does a seer handle somebody who has never connected with the spiritual realm? Well, this person right now is looking at books, stories, leaders, probably history, and they're looking outside of themselves to find their spiritual knowledge. Unfortunately, there is a gaping void within them that is not being filled because their mind is not looking within. It's stuck. So they're stuck externally looking towards these things. So when they want to connect with you, they want you to connect with their books, their stories, their leaders, and their history, to subject yourself to it, to submit to their process, because they think that what they're doing is right. And actually what they're doing is stifling their very small spiritual growth already. So the thing is, both men and women all have the ability to connect to their subtle bodies. This is not a gender specific thing. The reason why women are predominantly seers is because nobody listens to them. They have a lot of time alone. Women are inherently ignored and shunned in society. They are put on pedestals and worshipped as objects, but they are not seen as a mental equivalent to men. So men are out here debating with other men and engaging with other men, but nobody listens to women. So women realize they have the ability to go within because nobody's connecting with them or wants to know their mind. So they just go within and then they get all this spiritual knowledge. Then when they come back out and they want to connect with the world of men, men don't want to listen to them. Men want women to prove their spiritual knowledge via the books, the stories, the leaders, the history. And what can happen is, if a woman isn't careful, a man can actually stifle a woman's ability to connect to spirit. So how can men protect women and their spiritual growth? First of all, they can learn from women. They can submit. I know that's really scary to think about as a man, submitting to a woman, especially a spiritual woman. That's very scary. But the only way through is submission, because the subconscious of a man is feminine. The body is inherently feminine. So if a man will not listen to a physical woman externally to him, he will not listen to his own body internally. And if he learns how to listen to women, he doesn't have to give them power. He doesn't have to, put them on a pedestal. All he needs to do is be like, hey, can you explain that to me? I don't understand. Hey, how does that work? Hey, be respectful, but ask women, like, can you teach me? That's what they can you teach me, to the feminine. The men need to seek to be taught by the feminine. And once they do, they will begin to understand, oh, I have a feminine aspect within me in my body. And then I can go within, and then he can connect to his subtle bodies through his spiritual practice. That is the way forward. And that is only found in the Hegelian dialectic. The old Platonic dialectic severs this connection. It says, hey, we have all these things of authority over here, and we demand that the women submit to authority. That is Platonic. And that is why our society has grown less and less spiritual. And that is why our psychic gifts have been stunted. And the only way through is the Hegelian, where men ask women to teach them. And then they listen. It is about listening. In Old Norse, the word listening in Old Norse is hljóð, and it is the very first word of the Voluspa that the vulva sings to Odin. Hljóð, listen. Odin, listen. You ain't getting anything until you listen to the woman. If you don't listen to her, you aren't getting any of those good stuff. And then you are going to be stuck with lesser knowledge from lesser men. And so the only way through is this Hegelian dialectic, where we listen to each other. We connect with each other. And through connection, we go into the body, and we go into our subtle bodies, and we can actually connect the spirit realm. That's the only way.